Imagine a life where every desire is instantly fulfilled, every comfort provided, every hint of suffering meticulously banished. You are a prince, shielded within palace walls, surrounded by unimaginable luxury. Yet, deep within your heart, an inexplicable restlessness stirs, a profound yearning to understand the true meaning of existence. What would it take for you to willingly abandon such a perfect life in search of a truth far greater than any earthly kingdom? Today, we journey into one of the most pivotal and transformative narratives in human history, the story of Prince Siddhartha Gautama. This is the tale of how a young royal, sheltered from all pain, embarked on a fateful journey beyond his gilded cage, encountering the raw realities of life that shattered his illusions and propelled him towards an awakening that would forever change the course of human spirituality. Prepare to witness the profound encounters that opened his eyes, challenged his understanding of happiness, and led him to become the Buddha, the Awakened One. This isn't just an ancient legend, it's a timeless guide for anyone seeking deeper meaning and liberation from suffering in their own lives. Chapter 1. The Gilded Prison, a life of calculated comfort and unspoken longing. Once upon a time, in a prosperous kingdom nestled amidst lush green valleys, there lived a young prince named Siddhartha Gautama. His life was a meticulously crafted tapestry of luxury and pleasure, a world designed by his doting father, the king, to shield him from the harsh realities of the outside world. Siddhartha's days were filled with every comfort imaginable: abundant toys, the finest silk clothes, access to the best education from private tutors, and endless opportunities for leisure. He was surrounded by sprawling, beautiful gardens and exquisite, expensive possessions. Servants attended to his every whim, cleaning, fetching food, and assisting with every task, ensuring he never experienced a moment of discomfort or inconvenience. When he wasn't immersed in his studies, Siddhartha spent his days in youthful pursuits, swimming in crystal-clear palace pools, practicing archery and swordsmanship with skill, and riding magnificent horses through vast, manicured grounds. The palace was so massive, so self-contained, that it effectively became his entire world. He never even had to step outside its opulent walls, never glimpsed the lives of ordinary people, never witnessed the common struggles that defined existence beyond his privileged bubble. This meticulously controlled environment was a direct consequence of a prophecy made before his birth. Sages had foretold that the king's son would either become a mighty universal ruler, a Chakravartin, or a revered holy man who would renounce the world. The king, consumed by his desire for a worldly successor, was determined to steer Siddhartha towards the throne. He believed, in his profound avidya, ignorance, that if Siddhartha never saw bad things, the realities of aging, illness, poverty, and death, he would never feel the urge to alleviate them. And thus, he would never choose the path of a holy man, never choose to leave the palace. As Siddhartha grew into a young man, he married the beautiful and virtuous Princess Gopa, also known as Yashodhara in some texts. From all outward appearances, he seemed to have it all: a loving family, immense wealth, boundless pleasure, and a guaranteed future of power. He was a picture of worldly success. Yet, despite this seemingly perfect life, deep within his heart, Siddhartha felt an inexplicable, persistent restlessness. He yearned for something more, something profoundly real. He began to question the very nature of his existence, to wonder if life had a deeper, more profound meaning beyond mere sensory gratification. He intuitively questioned if possessions and fleeting pleasures could ever truly make one happy and content. The king's elaborate plan, designed to ensure Siddhartha would be a great king, was slowly, subtly, beginning to unravel from within. This growing unease, this inherent unsatisfactoriness even in comfort, was his first true experience of dukkha, the suffering that arises from the very nature of conditioned existence, sankhara dukkha. It was the silent call of truth. Chapter 2. The Four Divine Messengers, a reality check of epic proportions. One fateful day, driven by this profound, internal restlessness, and an unshakable curiosity that transcended his sheltered upbringing, Siddhartha decided to venture beyond the palace walls. Disguised as a commoner, a deliberate choice to shed his royal identity, he embarked on a journey through the bustling streets of the city. He sought to witness life as it truly was, unfiltered and raw, and boy, did he get a reality check. On this eye-opening adventure, Siddhartha had a front-row seat to the harsh, undeniable truths of life, encounters that would forever alter his perception, shattering his illusions. These pivotal observations are known in Buddhist tradition as the Four Divine Messengers, or simply, the Four Sights. The elderly man, as he walked, he noticed a frail figure, bent with age, slowly hobbling along the dusty road. This old person's feeble steps were a stark contrast to the youthful vitality Siddhartha possessed. Intrigued, and with a nascent compassion stirring within him, he approached the old person and inquired, "Why do you suffer so? What causes this deterioration?" The old person, with wisdom etched into every wrinkle, looked at Siddhartha and replied, "Time passes swiftly, my prince. The vigor of youth fades, and the body succumbs to the relentless march of age. This is the way of life for all." This vision of inevitable aging, hara dukkha, profoundly disturbed Siddhartha. The sick person. Deeply moved by this first encounter, Siddhartha continued his journey. As he proceeded, he encountered a sick person writhing in pain, their body weakened by disease. Groaning with discomfort, overcome with immediate compassion, Siddhartha approached the sick person and asked, "Why do you suffer so? What has befallen you?" The sick person, struggling to speak amidst their agony, replied, "Illness can afflict anyone, my prince. Our bodies are fragile, vulnerable to ailments that disrupt our well-being. This is the way of life." Siddhartha's mind was filled with a profound realization of the universal vulnerability to illness, vyadi dukkha, of the human body. The corpse. Determined to seek further answers, he continued his journey and soon stumbled upon a funeral procession. A solemn, somber atmosphere surrounded the mourners, their tear-streaked faces expressing raw grief and profound sorrow. Siddhartha approached one of them and asked, "Why do you weep so? What is the cause of this sorrow?" The mourner, with a heavy heart, replied, "Death comes to us all, my prince. Life is impermanent, and it is inevitable that we must bid farewell to our loved ones. This is the way of life." Siddhartha felt a deep ache within him as he directly confronted the stark reality of mortality, marana dukkha. The impermanence of existence, anicca, became undeniably evident, and he yearned to understand how to transcend the suffering, dukkha dukkha, it brought. The serene ascetic, with a renewed, urgent sense of purpose, he continued his journey. Finally, he came across a profound contrast to the suffering he had witnessed, an ascetic. This holy man was adorned in tattered robes, possessing nothing, yet radiating an aura of profound tranquility and inner peace. Siddhartha, deeply intrigued by this stark contrast, approached the ascetic and asked, "Why do you renounce worldly comforts? What do you seek?" The ascetic, his eyes gleaming with a wisdom that transcended worldly attachments, responded, "Desires enslave us, my prince. By renouncing material possessions and cultivating inner peace, we free ourselves from the endless cycle of craving. This is the path to liberation." These profound encounters, forever imprinted on Siddhartha's mind, guided his future actions. He realized that the old person, the sick person, and the dead person all pointed to the universal truths of impermanence, anicca, suffering, dukkha, and the inherent yearning for liberation from them. The serene ascetic offered a glimpse of the possibility of such liberation. Inspired by these profound insights, Siddhartha resolved to seek a path beyond the world of illusions and fleeting pleasures. He knew he could no longer live an easy life in the palace. He wanted to find a way to help all people overcome suffering. This profound realization, fueled by immense karuna, compassion, for all beings, sealed his destiny. Buddhist insight. The four sights are the catalysts for Siddhartha's great renunciation, mahabaniskramana. They underscore the universality of dukkha, suffering, in its various forms. Dukkha dukkha, the suffering of pain itself. Like illness, viparinama dukkha, the suffering of change. Like aging and loss. And sankhara dukkha, the pervasive unsatisfactoriness of conditioned existence. His recognition that all beings are subject to these sufferings ignites his boundless compassion. The sight of the serene monk offers a glimpse of nirodha, cessation of suffering, and the potential for liberation. Which is the third noble truth. Siddhartha's decision to leave his family and kingdom, often seen as a radical act, is viewed in Buddhism as an act of immense compassion. a commitment to find the ultimate solution for everyone's suffering, requiring him to first detach from the very things that bind one to suffering. This act of nekkhamma, renunciation, marks the beginning of his sincere spiritual quest, leading him onto the noble Eightfold Path, particularly right intention, samma sankappa. Chapter 3. The Quest for Truth, From Extremes to the Middle Way. Inspired by his profound encounters, Siddhartha resolved to seek a path beyond the world of illusions. He said goodbye to his family and set out to find the cause of suffering. He cut his long princely hair, a symbolic shedding of his former identity, and lived as an ascetic, someone who chooses to live in poverty and simplicity, often involving severe self-denial. For years, he dedicated himself to rigorous spiritual practice and deep introspection. He sought out the most renowned spiritual teachers and holy men of his time, studying meditation with them and engaging in deep discussions about the problem of suffering. First, he studied with Alara Kalama, a master of meditation who taught him how to reach deep states of concentration, known as the sphere of nothingness. Siddhartha, with his extraordinary intellectual brilliance and intense focus, mastered this in record time. But even in these profound meditative states, he realized that true, ultimate freedom from suffering still eluded him. A subtle longing, a sense of incompleteness, remained. Next, he apprenticed with Uddaka Ramaputta, who guided him to an even more refined, almost indescribable, level of meditation called the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. This was a state of such subtlety, a consciousness so refined, that it was hard to even articulate. Yet, despite mastering these incredibly advanced techniques and achieving what others considered the pinnacle of spiritual achievement, Siddhartha still felt a gnawing sense that he had not reached the absolute end of the path, the true cessation of suffering. Frustrated but undeterred by the limitations of these established paths, Siddhartha left these teachers and set out on his own, embracing extreme asceticism, pushing himself to the brink of starvation and subjecting his body to intense physical hardships. He believed that by conquering the physical, by denying every bodily urge, he could somehow purify his spirit and attain enlightenment, as he would later teach. To enjoy good health, to bring true happiness to one's family, to bring peace to all, one must first discipline and control one's own mind. But his path was physically self-destructive. He pushed himself to the very edge of human endurance, consuming very little food, barely sustaining himself with a few seeds and berries that the wind blew into his lap. He lost a tremendous amount of weight, becoming skeletal, a mere framework of bone and sinew. His body was covered in dirt, making him look like a living skeleton. 6 long, grueling years passed in this state of extreme deprivation. At his lowest point, Siddhartha was a mere shadow of his former self. Completely depleted, he had pushed himself to the very edge of human endurance. Yet the ultimate answers he sought still eluded him. He realized, I still do not know the way to put an end to suffering. I made the mistake of punishing my body, and I wasted so much time. This clearly doesn't work, it won't make one happier. It was in this moment of utter desolation, perched on the precipice of death, that a pivotal memory from his childhood surfaced, a memory of naturally falling into a state of deep, effortless meditation under an apple tree, a state of profound peace and clarity, far removed from any forceful striving. As he recalled the peace and clarity he had experienced then, a profound realization dawned on him. The path to enlightenment was not to be found in the extremes, neither the indulgence of his princely life, kamasukhala-kanuyoga, the pursuit of sensual pleasures, nor the harsh deprivation of asceticism, attakilamathanuyoga, the path of painful struggle. It lay instead in the middle way, majjhima patipada, a balanced approach that avoided both excess and self-inflicted torment. Recognizing the body as a vehicle for spiritual practice, not an enemy to be tormented. With this newfound understanding, Siddhartha knew he had to regain his strength. He decided to take more nourishment, accepting an offering of milk rice from a village girl named Sujata. This simple act restored his physical and mental balance. The 5 ascetics who had accompanied him, however, saw this as a sign of his failure and abandoned him, believing he had given up his quest. But Siddhartha was not deterred. His strength returned, and with it, renewed clarity and purpose. He mustered his last ounce of strength and set out to find a quiet, conducive place to meditate, determined to give his quest for ultimate truth one final, decisive chance. He crossed the Niranjana river and headed towards the very tree that would become the tree of enlightenment, the Bodhi tree. Buddhist insight. Siddhartha's rigorous ascetic period demonstrates his unparalleled virya, right effort, and his exploration of all available spiritual methodologies. However, his eventual disillusionment with both extreme indulgence and extreme asceticism is crucial. This leads him to the discovery of the middle path, a core tenet of Buddhism. This path advocates for moderation and balance, recognizing that both extremes hinder the mind's clarity and lead to suffering. His remembrance of the childhood meditation highlights the importance of effortless awareness and the understanding that true insight arises not from force, but from a balanced, receptive state of mind. Sujata's offering is pivotal, restoring his health and enabling his final push towards enlightenment. Chapter 4. The Bodhi Tree, the Ultimate Battle and the Dawn of Enlightenment. Siddhartha sat under the majestic fig tree, now revered as the Bodhi tree, tree of awakening. Here, he made an unwavering vow. He would not arise from this position. He would not break his meditation until he had achieved his ultimate goal, complete and perfect enlightenment. The final cessation of all suffering. This was his final, ultimate commitment, born from years of relentless, purified seeking. As Siddhartha delved deeper into his meditation, pushing the very boundaries of his consciousness, he was confronted by Mara, the evil one, the lord of illusion and temptation. Mara is not just a mythical demon, he is the profound symbolic representation of all the defilements, distractions, and inner obstacles that plague the human mind, are greed, lobha, hatred, dosa, ignorance, moha, jealousy, doubt, and all the other poisons that bring unhappiness, grief, and bind us inextricably to the cycle of samsara, birth, death, and rebirth. His realm is the human mind entangled in suffering, his power sustained by our continued ignorance. Mara, terrified and enraged by the prospect of Siddhartha's awakening, summoned his vast army of demonic sons and alluring daughters, the myriad manifestations of human defilements and temptations. They launched their full assault, terrifying storms, conjuring bolts of lightning, unleashing hideous, fearful shapes, and sending seductive dancers, all hoping to shake his resolve and drive him from his seat. But beneath the protective branches of the Bodhi tree, Siddhartha remained utterly calm, shielded by the immense force of his profound samadhi, right concentration, and brilliant vipassana, right mindfulness, insight. His meditation was as firm as a mighty stone, absolutely unshakable, undisturbed by any external chaos or internal agitation. When fear and violence failed, Mara, desperate, resorted to the insidious poison of doubt. He appeared as a wise old man, directly confronting Siddhartha. "You have just wasted your life. Show me one witness who will swear that you are worthy of succeeding." This aimed to sow profound doubt, visakicha, the ultimate mental obstacle, questioning his worthiness and his path. But these words did not deter Siddhartha. He remained utterly silent, his mind perfectly still. Then, in a moment of ultimate triumph over ego and doubt, he lifted his right hand from his lap, reached forward, and gently touched the earth. This simple, yet profoundly powerful, gesture, the Bhumisparsha mudra, the earth-touching gesture, was his silent, irrefutable reply. It meant that the earth itself was Siddhartha's witness. It signified that for countless lifetimes, his previous existences as a bodhisattva, he had appeared on this earth in various forms, practicing immense generosity, dana, and boundless patience, keshanti, acting lovingly and meditating on the truth, accumulating the immense merit, punya, and wisdom, prajna, that culminated in this very moment. His worthiness was not dependent on Mara's approval, but on the accumulated wholesome karma of eons. Mara was now truly and utterly defeated. Realizing his absolute defeat, his power over Siddhartha, and by extension, over all who follow the path, shattered, he vanished, his voice fading into a mere echo. Siddhartha was now all alone, free from all external and internal disturbances, his mind utterly still, perfectly clear. Gradually, his concentration deepened further, and his understanding grew clearer than any crystal. He realized, with undeniable certainty, That desire, tanha, is the fundamental root cause for all suffering. He understood that the insatiable craving for what we don't have, and the relentless clinging to what we do have, are the fires that fuel the cycle of dukkha. And, profoundly, he realized that once the heart is completely free of desire and hate, it would be filled with boundless love, profound peace, and true happiness. Once Siddhartha gained this perfect, liberating understanding, his face began to glow brightly, emanating an otherworldly radiance. He had become fully enlightened. He was now the Buddha, the Enlightened One, the Awakened One, the one who knows. He had reached his ultimate goal. With a calm and peaceful smile, he arose from his meditation. When he opened his eyes, he saw the world filled with peace and happiness, a perfect reflection of his own inner state, seeing reality as it truly is, unclouded by illusion. Buddhist insight. The 49 days of meditation under the Bodhi tree represent the culmination of Siddhartha's arduous spiritual journey. Demonstrating viriya, right effort, and samadhi, right concentration. Mara's attacks symbolize internal defilements, kleshas, and the final overcoming of ego. The Bhumisparsha mudra signifies the grounding of his enlightenment in reality, witnessed by the earth itself. The core realization, that desire is the root cause of all suffering, is the second noble truth, samudaya. Its cessation, leading to boundless love, peace, and happiness, is the third noble truth, nirodha. This moment is the ultimate transformation, giving birth to the Buddha as a teacher for the world. Chapter 5. The Dhamma cycle, turning the wheel of truth and building the path. Visual. Buddha initially hesitant, then encouraged by subtle, luminous figures, devas, transitioned to the deer park. With Buddha teaching the 5 ascetics, show images of people listening intently. Angulimala's transformation, and Kisa Gautami's profound realization. The Dharma wheel becomes a central, gently turning motif, symbolizing the spread of the teachings. I am filled with happiness. The newly awakened Buddha mused. My mind is free from all darkness and pain. But it was so difficult for me to reach the end of suffering and become a Buddha. I wonder if there is anyone who can understand the truths I have discovered. How could I possibly teach them? Perhaps it is better for me to live the rest of my life in the forest, all alone, and enjoy the happiness of being a Buddha myself. At this brief moment of profound introspection and hesitation, divine beings, devas, recognizing the immense need of suffering humanity, appeared and pleaded with the Buddha, "Please do not forget us. We are the suffering beings of the world. Please teach us." The Buddha's boundless compassion, karuna, overcame his initial reluctance to teach such a profound and subtle truth. "Of course," he said, his voice resonating with deep resolve, "I shall teach. However, they will have to help themselves. They have to be a light unto themselves." Initial students in the first sermon, turning the wheel of Dhamma. The Buddha first sought out his former teachers, Alara Kalama and Udaka Ramapada, but with his awakened vision, he saw they had already passed away. So, he turned to the 5 ascetics who had accompanied him during his extreme period. He found them in the deer park near Benares. There, the Buddha delivered his first sermon, known as Turning the Wheel of the Dhamma, Dharmachakra Pravartana Sutta. He began by teaching the middle path as the right way to put an end to all sufferings. He then expounded the 4 noble truths. The noble truth of suffering, dukkha, everyone suffers. And hard things happen. It's part of life. The noble truth of the cause of suffering, samudaya, suffering arises from tanha, craving, attachment. Our desire for more, and our attachment to what we have, fuels discontent. The noble truth of the end of suffering, nirodha, we can overcome suffering by ceasing craving. This leads to nirvana, perfect peace. Desires, blown out. The noble truth of the path to the end of suffering, magga. The way to overcome suffering is by following the Noble Eightfold Path. This means continually improving oneself through kindness, honesty, compassion, and mindful attention to thoughts, meditation. The 5 ascetics were deeply moved and became his first disciples, forming the Sangha, the community of monks. Buddhist insight. The Buddha's initial hesitation to teach, and his ultimate decision driven by karuna, is pivotal. The first sermon establishes the core framework of Buddhist philosophy and practice, setting out the middle way and the 4 noble truths as the direct path to liberation. The formation of the Sangha is crucial. Establishing the three jewels, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, as refuge and a living tradition. Chapter 6. The Buddha's teachings in action, compassion, impermanence, and wisdom applied. The Buddha taught countless people across diverse backgrounds, adapting his profound message to their individual understanding and needs. He frequently used simple stories and parables to convey complex truths, making his teachings accessible and relatable to all. Let's explore some memorable examples of his teachings in action. 1. The parable of the mustard seed, learning impermanence through profound loss. A deeply grieving woman, Kisa Gautami, approached the Buddha, pleading for him to bring her dead son back to life. The Buddha agreed, but with a unique condition. She must bring mustard seeds from a house where no one had ever died. Kisa searched tirelessly, but every house shared stories of loss. She returned empty-handed but with a new understanding. Death must come to everyone. She realized. The Buddha affirmed, if you learn the truth of impermanence, you can live and die in happiness. Lesson. This parable teaches anicca, impermanence, and the universality of dukkha. Grief is intensified by clinging to permanence. By accepting impermanence, we reduce suffering, cultivate equanimity, upekkha, and find peace through acceptance. 2. The unaccepted gift, handling anger with wisdom and non-reactivity. An angry man insulted the Buddha. The Buddha listened calmly, then asked, if someone offers you a gift and you decline, to whom does it belong? The man replied, to the giver. The Buddha stated, if you offer me your anger and I do not accept it, then the anger falls back on you. You are the only one who suffers. The man was stunned, realized his error, and sought the path of love. Lesson. This is a masterclass in dealing with anger, dosa, and negativity. We choose our response. By not reacting with anger or taking insults personally, we prevent the second arrow of suffering. This cultivates metta, loving kindness, and upekkha, equanimity. 3. Testing the teachings. The importance of personal experience and wise inquiry. A follower praised the Buddha as the greatest teacher. The Buddha asked if he knew all past, present, or future teachers. When the follower admitted no, the Buddha advised, it is wrong to say I am the greatest. You should test the teaching yourself to see if they are true or not. Just like testing gold for purity. If you find them helpful, then practice them. Also, do not criticize the teachings of others. Lesson. This emphasizes right view, samma-ditthi, and critical inquiry. Don't accept teachings blindly. Test them through personal experience. This promotes experiential spirituality, discourages dogmatism, and encourages respect for diverse paths and wisdom, prajna, through direct realization. Chapter 7. Conclusion. The radiance of the Buddha's Dhamma, your path to peace. The Buddha's journey is a profound blueprint for human transformation. It illustrates that suffering, dukkha, is an internal creation, born from our attachment, tanha, and resistance to impermanence, anicca. The Buddha's timeless teachings, from the foundational Four Noble Truths to the practical and liberating Noble Eightfold Path, offer a clear, compassionate, and universally applicable methodology to navigate existence and discover profound, unshakable liberation. Key learnings for your modern life. Embrace the middle way, Majjhima Patipada. Seek balance in all actions, thoughts, and emotions. Avoid extremes. Cultivate mindfulness, sati, be profoundly present. Observe thoughts without entanglement. Practice non-attachment, upekkha, love deeply but without clinging rigidly. Accepting impermanence reduces suffering. Develop compassion, karuna, and loving kindness, metta, extend profound kindness to yourself and all others. Choose understanding over judgment. Focus your attention, right effort, samadhi. Direct your mental energy towards wholesome growth. External negativity becomes mere background noise. The Buddha's story reminds us that the ultimate source of peace, happiness, and liberation lies not in external circumstances, but within the awakened mind itself. Just like Siddhartha, we all possess the innate potential to transcend our suffering by diligently understanding reality and by cultivating wisdom, boundless compassion, and unwavering mindfulness. Your life is your very own Buddha story. Will you allow yourself to be passively tossed by the wheel of life, caught in its ceaseless, chaotic spin? Or will you, like the Buddha, find your serene center, detached from its relentless turning, experiencing true, liberating freedom, right here, right now? The choice is always in your grasp. Thank you for watching, and may you always carry the profound peace and illuminating wisdom of these stories within your heart. Join our growing community by liking this video and subscribing to Buddha's Story, where ancient wisdom beautifully meets modern mindfulness. What aspect of the Buddha's journey or these teachings resonates most deeply with your personal experience? Share your reflections and insights in the comments below. Until our next encounter, may your path be filled with profound peace, deep understanding, and the radiant light of your own awakening.